Mr. Louis Ng.
So I stand in support of this bill that will increase our responsiveness to infectious diseases. The most effective responses to infectious diseases are steps that are taken preemptively to curb the risks of any emerging threats. The bill provides the stakeholders with the necessary powers to respond ahead of time of any outbreaks and quickly should an outbreak actually occur. However, I also believe that all powers should be accompanied by checks and balances, and I would like to seek some clarifications on the broad powers the bill provides. Under Section 21(1), the Director may give directions to any individual to cease or to change how they carry out any occupation, trade or business. I note that Section 21(2)(a) states that the Director will specify the period of time that the individual will have to cease their occupation, trade or business. Can the Minister confirm that the Director will not have the blanket power to order a person to cease their occupation, trade or business for an indefinite period? Will the decision be made by just one person or a committee? Will it be subject to time limits? For instance, Section 17(a), which allows the Minister to declare a public health emergency and designate restricted zones, is subject to a 14-day time limit. There is no similar time limit for the Director's powers under Section 21(1). Can the Minister confirm whether any time period specified will at least be limited by the requirement of reasonableness? Can the Minister also provide the assurance that reasonable periods subject to regular reviews will be preferred over long bans? Next, under Section 57(b)(1), a healthcare provider may disclose information identifying a person as an individual affected or suspected to be affected by an infectious disease. The healthcare provider must be authorized by the Director to do so. Can the Minister clarify whether the affected person will be notified of the disclosure? Under Section 57(b)(3), the specified recipient of information may further disclose that information to another person providing a prescribed healthcare service. The disclosure is only to the extent necessary to prevent the spread of outbreak of the infectious disease. Can the Minister elaborate on whether the extent necessary is at the sole judgment of the specified recipient, and whether the Director's authorization or affected person's consent would be required? Section 57(b)(6) defines, quote, healthcare provider and specified recipient, unquote, as any person that provides a prescribed healthcare service which will be prescribed in subsequent regulations. Can the Minister share in advance the scope of the healthcare services that may be prescribed and whether a healthcare provider would be limited to medical practitioners registered under the Medical Registration Act? In addition to Section 57(b), Section 59(a)(5)(a) also allows individually identifiable information to be disclosed for the purpose of national public health research. There are no express provisions for both Section 57(b) and 59(a) on safeguards that may be imposed on the recipient of such information. Rather, Section 57(b)(2) and Section 59(a)(5)(c) allows the Director to impose conditions. I assume that these conditions will require the recipient of the information to take steps to prevent further disclosure. Will the subsidiary legislation or guidelines that will further elaborate on the safeguards that recipients must put in place? Lastly, I would like to commend MOH on the 6-week public consultation that was conducted in mid-2018 on the proposed amendments to the Infectious Diseases Act. However, unlike the draft Healthcare Services Bill, there was no direct response from the Ministry to the public consultation feedback. Can the Minister share the key feedback that was received on the proposed amendments and whether any of the responses was accepted by the Ministry in drafting this final bill? Sir, notwithstanding my clarifications, I stand in support of the bill.